mode.
Well, good morning, everybody, and thank you for tuning into today's webinar about taking charge of your online reputation. My name is Wade Patterson. I'm the Social Media and Communications Coordinator with RE/MAX of Western Canada. My apologies for the late start. We actually we began the webinar, we thought we were going, and then it seemed that we're still in practice mode, not the actual started mode. That is my fault, my apologies. Thank you all for sticking around, and hopefully you can hear me now and see the screen. You should have a question box on your right-hand side, and if you don't mind just typing into the question box and confirming if you can see my audio. Garrett, I've been chatting back and forth to you, David as well. If you guys don't mind just sending me a quick note here and making sure. Perfect. Thanks so much, Karen. And thank you all again for your patience sticking around. And we're all good now. We're underway. Good to see that. Well, RE/MAX of Western Canada recently announced its brand new partnership with 2x4. And the goal of this partnership is to give RE/MAX agents a unique way to help build their online reputation. And this partnership will also dramatically expand the amount of online professional quality real estate information available to home buyers and sellers. So at this point, I'm going to hand it over, and it's my pleasure to introduce Adam Lerner, the co-founder and CEO of 2x4. So Adam, take it away.
Hello everyone, and thank you for attending the webinar this morning. As you know, the topic is taking charge of your online reputation, and you can find me at the hashtags listed here, 2x4, as well as these Twitter accounts. Feel free to tweet about or post to Facebook any of the content that you see here today. So we started off with a poll question, and I'm not sure if everybody had a chance to respond. I'm going to go past this because I think that you were able to respond even though it was in practice mode. But the question was, do you feel like you're in control of your online reputation? And so when we got the poll results back, 67% of you said no, and 33% of you said yes. And that's very typical from my experience, is that there's a lot of fears about both online reputation as well as a lack of control of that reputation online, which is inhibiting a lot of the use of tools that are available to really build out the online reputation. So what if I told you that for $5 right now, I could help you build your online reputation? And I asked that question not just as a hypothetical, because it's actually the case. This is a real website and a profile of a seller named Tosh Wood, and you can see here that Tosh offers for $5 to provide a written testimonial with a photo. And so this is, and she's had 65 reviews. And in fact, she's Canadian, and some of the people that have reviewed her are not only Canadian, but in this case, from Vancouver. So we have sellers like this that are willing to provide seemingly authentic testimonials for websites, social media, etc., and doing it for $5. And this isn't just this seller. In fact, there's many providers in all different spaces that are willing to provide different kinds of testimonials for you, and those could be voice testimonials, they could be written testimonials, they can be reviews of different things. And so the question comes back to, given this, are you scared, and are you essentially more scared away from building your online reputation than perhaps you were before I showed you these providers online? And I would contend that you can't actually afford to be scared away, because the business value of building online reputation is so significant that being deterred by what's happening in terms of the inauthentic reviews online is really not the approach that I would recommend. And so we looked in detail at some of the social science research that's been done, specifically on the company Yelp, because now we have about a decade's worth of data built up on companies that are helping, or some would argue not helping, people build their online reputations. And these figures that are listed here are cited from two sources. One is a Boston Consulting Group survey that spoke with about 5,000 small businesses, and the other is from a Harvard Business School professor named Michael Luca. And what they found is that there was a significant increase in revenue for people that were users of Yelp. And that came in a number of different forms. So somebody that had a profile with no advertisements was getting an additional $8,000 in revenue on average per year. A profile that used advertising was typically getting on average $23,000 a year versus someone who didn't. And for those systems like Yelp that use star ratings, a boost of one single star, meaning moving from, say, a 3-star to a 4-star, yielded an increase of 5 to 9% revenue for the year. So these are clear. These are data points that are built off of a lot of users online, and shows that there's a very clear business case for being able to showcase reviews and reputation online. So you might be thinking at this point that I'm an advocate for Yelp, and why not just flock to Yelp? And I'm actually not an advocate that you would flock to Yelp, and there's a number of reasons why. We've had interviews with dozens of agents, many who use Yelp, and one of the biggest challenges with Yelp is something that they call filters. And filters are both a good and a bad thing. The good part about Yelp's filters is that they're trying to weed out fraudulent reviews, the kind of reviews that I was showing you that you could go on and purchase for $5. The bad thing is that for the people that don't have a track record with Yelp, typically the reviews don't get shown. So you can see here, by example, 57 other reviews that are not currently recommended. Those are hidden reviews on profiles. So it's very typical that you would have multiple reviews for any real estate agent who's using Yelp that aren't being shown, and sometimes you'll have way more reviews that aren't being shown than are actually being shown. The second piece about why not to flock to Yelp is actually a piece of data, a piece of research that was done back in 2009 on star rating systems. And this was done by YouTube, who had scads of data about people using its 5-star rating system to essentially rate the quality of a video. And what they found was pretty striking, and actually had made YouTube move away from a 5-star rating system, which is that if you can look at this chart on the left side, you can see there's a few people that will rate something a 1, and then basically no one rates anything a 2, 3, or 4, and then most people rate things a 5. And this is probably not uncommon for you if you've spent some time looking at agent rating systems, or even, specifically something like Zillow Agent Finder, where you will find predominantly people that have a 5-star rating. And as we know, everyone is not a 5-star. And part of this is because of the people that are going in to rate typically are in these two poles. And so if we're looking for authentic ratings in a view, especially considering it from a consumer perspective, and being able to evaluate the quality, the knowledge, the service experience of one real estate agent versus another, we really need a system that allows for and promotes people to use things like the 2s, 3s, and 4s. And so we, as a team in creating a 2x4 this year, really looked at a lot of this data and thought real estate deserved better. The data integrity of star rating systems such as Yelp is not serving the real estate industry very well, and yet at the same time we know that online reputation is incredibly important for driving business. So we started thinking about this problem of reputation and what was entailed in reputation. And of course, reputation is beliefs or opinions. They're not necessarily the facts that are generally held about someone. So now I'm going to turn to my second poll, Wade, which is poll question number 2. And I'm going to give you a list of 5 professions, and I want you to guess which profession you think ranks the highest for honesty and integrity. So is it clergy, pharmacists, real estate agents, advertising professionals, or police officers? So we'll pause for about 20 seconds and let you answer that. which ranks the highest for honesty and integrity? And if you're in a group setting, feel free to just have one person do the voting. Okay, Wade, let's go ahead and close the poll with whatever respondent got here. So it looks like 40% of you thought that clergy were the highest ranked for honesty and integrity, 20% pharmacists, no one picked real estate agents or advertising professionals, and so you tied police officers and clergy. So now I'm going to show you what the data, and this is pulled from a Gallup poll. Annually Gallup looks at honesty and ethics, perceptions of honesty and ethics in professions. And this was done in the end of December, about a year ago, in 2014. The question was, please tell me how you'd rate the honesty and ethical standards of people in these fields. And you can see that I didn't give you the choice of nurses because I thought it was a dead giveaway. But pharmacist of the group that I gave you was ranked the highest. And then police officers, and then clergy. And then you go down the list, and very close to the bottom, you have real estate agents and advertising practitioners. And if it helps at all to take consolation in this, that I worked in the advertising industry for about 10 years, and so I have less of a reputation for honesty and integrity than even real estate agents. So knowing this about real estate agents not being perceived as being honest and having integrity, that is a true challenge to the reputation of the profession. And so the other way we like to think about this in terms of online reputation is professionalism, or what are the competences or skills that are expected of a professional? So how do you display the things that you know best? And we believe there's this kind of magic equation, and this is the place where 2x4 has been operating, which is if we can combine the aspects of reputation and professionalism, we can get to a place where agents are trusted. And we know that based on the Gallup data that right now many buyers and sellers struggle with that aspect of agent trust. And if we're to build that aspect of agent trust up, then we will have both a much easier transaction process with buyers and sellers, but we'll also be able to attract many more buyers and sellers to individual agents that are trusted. And I think this is maybe the last piece of data I'm going to throw at you, but you can tell I'm a bit of a data guy, is there was a survey that was done this past summer by Nielsen in combination with Agent Ace, and they asked when home buyers and sellers were selecting an agent, what was the most important thing that they were looking for? And what may surprise you is that expertise was the #1 thing that they were looking for, above referrals, years of experience, and online reviews. And so the question that I pose to many real estate agents when I meet with them inside of brokerages is, how do they actually discover your expertise, and how do they discover it in a way that they would trust? So I'm going to talk briefly about what we've built at 2x4 and why we think that 2x4 is the best tool out there in order for you to build trusted relationships before, during, and after searching for homes. And it's all predicated on this idea of expertise and providing a place for you to showcase what it is that you know the best. So 2x4 starts with questions. So we have buyers and sellers from across Canada that are asking all types of questions about owning, buying, and selling real estate. And you can see an example, and I've just pulled a from one of our question pages here. This is a question on commissions. Very standard question, are real estate commissions negotiable? And in fact, if you type this into Google search, which is how most users would get to a place like this, you're going to find all kinds of different answers from all different websites, none of which are places that you know whether you would be able to trust it. So you can see that 326 people have viewed this question. We've had 4 people contributing to it, and you can see who the user is that is asked the question here. And I'm going to show you what one of the answers to that question was, which is the answer by somebody that's actually a RE/MAX agent from RE/MAX Kelowna named Stephen Berg. And Stephen took the time to articulate a really thoughtful answer, and in exchange for that thoughtfulness that he put forward, he earned what you see down here, which is 5 likes. So the way it works on 2x4, somebody essentially reads the answers that real estate agents are giving to any question, just like on a behavior on Facebook. If they think something's a good answer, they will give it a like. And over time, what it means is the best answers rise to the top. And in this case, Stephen got these 5 likes, which earned him the status of top answer. So that's important because if I'm coming onto this page and there's a whole bunch of different answers on the question, on this question, it helps me as a buyer or seller very quickly get to what has been identified by the community as the top answer. But there's also big online reputational value of Stephen having answered this question on 2x4, especially versus having answered this question in a one-on-one context or maybe even on his website, because now he's in a place of credibility where lots of different agents are answering questions and people have essentially voted him as the most knowledgeable. So what I'm showing here is how likes on 2x4 build expertise. What you're seeing is Stephen's profile on 2x4, which he controls part of. He adds what brokerage he's with, his URL, his email. He could add a bio with links, etc. You can see some of the questions that he's answered. And most importantly, down here under what is called topic leaderboards, you can begin to see what Stephen has earned expertise in. So Stephen has earned, based on his number of likes, on the leaderboards of the topics buy versus rents, commissions, contracts, and investments. So if I'm looking for a real estate agent with a particular type of expertise, such as in contracts, I could go to the contracts topic and I would, in this case, find Stephen ranked highly. And it's also that this knowledge now becomes trusted in a relative context, because we've got real estate agents that are being shown relative to one another based on their number of likes across topics, but also across the site. And in this case, you can see this is our professionals page where we're just showcasing the ones that have the highest number of votes. You can see a number of different real estate brokerages here, which was really, and brands, which was really important really important to credibility for buyers and sellers, that it wasn't just, say, a RE/MAX product, that by seeing other brokerages there and other brands there, it helped give credibility to those agents that were performing the best, because they knew it was a level playing field. And in this case, we'll stick with our pal Stephen here. You can see Stephen is ranked number 2 on the leaderboard because he's earned 11 likes across all the different questions that he's answered, and the topic that he is actually most expert in is the topic of market conditions. And the next piece, which we think is a real game changer for you guys in going back to that question around controlling reputation, which we think that we've given you a really good tool in order to now control reputation, because you can choose what topics you answer questions in, and you're being rated based on the qualities of your knowledge in a single vote on your answers rather than on, say, your personality. And what we can now give you based on all of this systems activity on 2x4 is we can show you analytics on how your reputation is changing. So that every 2 weeks we can give you a report to show how you're performing in terms of your numbers of answers, your top answers, your number of likes, which leaderboards you're nearly on, etc. So we're, for the first time, surfacing data analytics that now enable you to really have an ROI on what is the return on the amount of time you're spending contributing content on social media, which would be very hard to do right now, thinking about your profiles on things like Facebook or Twitter. So I'm going to ask you poll question number 3, and Wade, if you can bring this up. The question is, how knowledgeable was I on the subject of online reputation? And I do this with a bit of cheekiness, but because I'm asking on 2x4 in the same way for you essentially to be rated based on your knowledge. So I thought it was only fair that you rate me on this based on my knowledge. So select one of the following: was I very knowledgeable, somewhat knowledgeable, neutral, not very, or ignorant? And I'll live with the consequences of what you guys vote. Okay, Let's go ahead and close the poll away. Oh, thanks. Very nice. Not very is 17%, which of course I take personally, but it's a small sample. 67% said that I was very knowledgeable, 17% somewhat. So the reason that this data is important, and not just, obviously it's very helpful feedback for me, but it's also the kind of feedback that you're going to get on 2x4, is that, of course, what you're striving for is the ability to be showcased, is vary, and pick the ones that you think are going to be the areas of expertise that will grow your business the most. Well, we don't have an order now button for $5, and we don't write inauthentic testimonials about your business. We do have a business model that is based on plans, and those plans start actually at free plans, and they're also the first tier of paid plans is at $10. So I'll show you quickly in case you want to sign up, and I'm making sure to leave some time here for questions. If you would like to sign up, you go to 2by4.com. You can see on the top right there will be a Join Us button here, and that will take you to a page that asks you whether you're a professional or a non-professional. Of course, you're a professional, so choose professional, and then it will take you down to a page that looks like this. And so we have a relationship, as Wade mentioned, we have a partnership with RE/MAX of Western Canada, and what that means is actually you get a discount as a participating agent in the RE/MAX family for joining 2x4. So you can choose as an individual which plan you want to get on. The $0 plan is free for as long as you want to stay on it, and that enables you to answer questions, earn likes, create your profile, etc. At the point that you've earned some likes and want to show up on leaderboards, you need to be on a paid plan to show up on those leaderboards. And that starts at $10 a month before the discount. Or if you're interested in getting the data reports, it's an additional $5 a month. And we have annual plans as well, in case you're interested in the discounts. So now I am going to turn to questions. So I wanted to make sure, I know we only have a 30-minute webinar to leave. I've left a little less than 10 minutes for your questions. You can enter your questions either in the questions tab or in the chat box for me. And also, if while we're waiting for questions to come in, we've got this piece here, which is this is the actual URL to the RE/MAX pricing page. This is the code if you do want to sign up. And I see that we don't have any questions yet, so as we wait for questions to come in, I will talk a little bit more, which is one of the typical questions that I get when we're in front of in-person audiences who can actually respond and ask me things, is they ask the question, so you built this site and it's a place to showcase my expertise, and I understand the importance of online reputation, but how do you attract consumers? Because essentially you're only going to deliver me as much value as you can attract an audience for me. So it's probably no surprise to you that we're using social media and online tools as a way to actually draw people into 2x4, because the behaviors that we're asking them to do, which is come in, ask a question, add likes, etc., are very similar behaviors that they would be doing on something like Twitter or Facebook. So we have a number of different advertising strategies that are running to bring consumers into 2x4 to ensure that they get to see your answers, they get to see your profile. So one is that we run social media ads, which is probably no surprise, and probably many of you do. The next piece that is a bit more interesting is that we're using each of these questions as pay-per-click ads. So if somebody asks that question that I showed earlier about are real estate commissions negotiable, and they go and type it into Google, not only are they going to start seeing us on our organic search, but we have pay-per-click ads that are specifically tailored to that question. And so in Google, if somebody clicks on our ad about the commissions, they will be driven straight to your answers on 2x4, and they will get hopefully a very valuable answer, and then peruse and look at your profile or potentially other content on 2x4. And the next piece that is really key, and I would encourage you, if you're not using this as part of your own social media strategy already, to consider using it, which is we use something called retargeting. So for every user that comes onto the 2x4 website, we are building an audience, is what it's called. So we essentially know that they visited 2x4, and we can serve them ads in places like Facebook and on sites that are ad supported that remind them about certain content that they saw on 2x4 and expressed an interest in. We'll probably even get to the point that if they've viewed certain profiles, that we can drive them back to your profiles. This example here is an ad that I didn't put in, but actually comes through retargeting campaign, and this is based on a listing site, and you can see an ad just appeared here because it knows that I had come to 2x4 before. So we are also running contests on questions, and our goal is to build our consumer traffic such that it becomes not only a valuable tool for you to be able to input your answers and bring them into your own social media profiles and your websites, etc., but that we're attracting a lot of consumers to come in and see you. So it looks like we don't have any more questions. Does anyone have a question before we round up about 2x4 or about the importance of online reputation? I do have a couple of other backup slides which I will go ahead and talk through, which is I didn't include them because I wanted to make sure we left plenty of time for questions. I know there's this conversation, and I frequently have it, especially with managing brokers and broker owners, about that the business is very much still a belly-to-belly business, and that the goal is to, of course, have a face-to-face meeting and build relationships in person. But what we also know is at the same time is that the online tools are, first of all, where consumers are going and spending a lot more of their time than they're spending necessarily belly to belly, and they're doing it much earlier in the process. And we also know that if they experience the right things online or valuable things, whether that's the information that they're getting about real estate or building a relationship with you more specifically online, that can then influence how they sit, who they choose to sit belly to belly with, and also the nature of those initial conversations. And you probably already know some of this data, but that the predominant amount of search is actually happening online right now, and it's happening across all of the age ranges. So this is 2014 data that shows that on average of all buyers, 92% of them will search online for homes. And so what's really important is that how are they, and actually they're doing that typically without the aid or collaboration of a real estate agent. So we're missing a key opportunity as real estate agents to provide value to them either before they go into the search process or during the search process. And we think that that's a place that 2x4 can be very valuable, is reaching them before and during search. We also know that after they search for homes online, they're taking actions that are also very valuable in terms of driving your business and getting to the belly-to-belly meetings that you guys are all looking for. And so what you can see here is a list of some of the additional statistics that came out in this 2014 report from the National Association of Realtors about what they're doing after viewing homes online. And typically these are very difficult to do, or certainly not in an aggregated place, about finding the agent after searching for a home, or requesting more information, or pre-qualifying, or contacting a builder. So we're trying to build 2x4 out to be the place that they can discover and build these behaviors into their next stages of actions, so that when they are looking for more information, they can find it on 2x4 and they can discover you and your expertise there. So I will leave it open for, Wade, are there any more questions coming in?
Hey there, Adam. Not just yet, but I do want to take this chance to just really thank Adam for taking the time to come and present really informative webinar and presentation today. Thanks so much for that, Adam. And as a reminder to everyone here, as well as anyone who wasn't able to make the webinar. If you want to let them know, we have recorded this session. We're going to be posting it on the region update through our YouTube channel. So there is that ability, perhaps, I know how webinars are. Sometimes you tune in and then you get called into another meeting or you're busy doing other things. You will have that ability to check out that video and re-watch any of that recording or anything like that. So Adam, unless you have any last words here, still not seeing any questions coming in. So any final
Okay,
thoughts, Adam?
well, thank you everybody for attending. Don't hesitate if you're interested to know more about 2x4. I can answer questions about online reputation. Our number is there. You can also write to me on Twitter. My email address is adam@2x4.com. So I will look forward to speaking to you soon. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks so much. And thank you to everyone for taking the time to tune in. I hope you have a great day and happy holidays. Take care.
Thanks. Bye.